What's poppin', people? It's Dante, getting my morning started here in Fairmount Park, Philadelphia. Welcome to the Centennial Arboretum. A beautiful morning here, thinking today about this very simple notion. You are a photographer. I met this young man yesterday, Shaq. Shout out to Shaq. Yo, what's poppin'? Shaquille O'Neal. What's good? What's good, man? And he was telling me how he always knew he was a photographer, but he never really thought about it too much. And he was telling me how he's just going out and enjoying to see the everyday life in his city here in Philadelphia and how that's bringing him joy in life. And I think this, to me, is the beauty of photography. You know, for we both have eyes. Me and you, the viewer here. You know, I have two eyes that are connected to my brain that allow me to see and perceive the world with sharp visual acuity. So we ultimately have this camera within our physical bodies when you think about it, right? Where we have this sort of panopticon view of our surroundings. We can look around with our neck and our head and swivel around and view things visually. And this is a beautiful thing, right? Life is full of things, full of beautiful things to look at, beautiful things to photograph, right? And the reason why I'm thinking about photography this way is because we all possess this ability to see. I mean, maybe there are some people who unfortunately don't have sight, right? But I believe for the most part, we all have the ability to see. And to see is one thing, but to photograph is another, where to photograph is to make sense of the sort of complexities of life through making an image, right? Photographing is taking your vision, taking your sight, taking the way that you perceive the world and putting four corners around it, putting order to chaos. And to me, the joy of photography and the joy that this man Shaq was talking to me about was the fact that when he goes out each day now, you know, he's starting to tap into the sort of mundane nature of life and looking at the beautiful sunrise, looking at the people on the street, looking at people and moments and the different things that are fleeting in this mundane everyday life of ours as something beautiful, you know, now that he's perceiving the world as a photographer. And so I think that you are a photographer. We all are photographers. And this is an empowering thought, you know, where photography ultimately is the most democratic medium. I mean, we all have an iPhone with a camera in our pocket. Photography has never been more accessible than ever. Everybody can make a picture, you know, but not everybody makes a photograph that shares a piece of their soul. And this to me is what it means to be a true photographer. A true photographer photographs their reality, their perception, their vision. And I think it comes through cultivating a voice. It comes through using photography, phos meaning light, graphe meaning writing. You write with light, and through this practice of making photographs, you're creating a visual diary. You're using the act of making a photograph as a way for you to write within that page of your diary. And I think this is a beautiful way to look at photography. As cliche as it may sound, I think this is a very beautiful approach where now everybody can go out and make photographs that are of their everyday life. I mean, it's interesting to think about the amount of photographs that are made and the amount of people that have the ability to create these days. And I think through empowering yourself as a photographer, empowering yourself with a camera in hand, it's like having this superpower, because now when you're in the moment and you're watching life unfold and you're looking at the beautiful trees and you're looking at all the complexities, how mundane things may seem, doesn't really affect you, because now you see the ability to create upon the canvas, that is our world around us. It's all infinitely fascinating when you have the perception of a photographer. And once again, you are a photographer. You have two eyes that are connected to your brain. You have a camera connected to your brain, you know, and by using that vision, by using that articulation of putting together a frame, by combining your vision with a camera, now you have a purpose. Now you have found, I believe, meaning in the mundane. For now, when you're out there and you're looking at things, you can make sense of it. You can create upon it. You can make something from nothing. And the reason I think about this notion philosophically in the terms that you are a photographer and thinking about the physicality of our eyes and the way that we sort of have this ability to see is because ultimately the sensual perception of sight and the pleasure it provides you as an individual, right? Looking at something beautiful is one thing, right? I can look at this tree and say, yes, this is beauty. But to evoke the sublime comes from the soul. It comes from within. And I think this is what we can do with photography, is to go beyond the simple notion of creating a beautiful photograph, but to create something that has emotional impact. And so that comes through photographing through your subconscious mind. That comes through letting go of that sort of rational mind or that logical mind where, yes, you have the eyes that allow you to see all of the beauty, but can you dive deeper within your heart, your soul, and reflect that in the photographs. You know, I think ultimately I really champion this virtue of courage, where the word courage, core meaning heart, a photograph I believe is a reflection of your courage, of your heart, for it takes courage to come out here into the arena of the open world and to walk and to move and to engage with life. And so by photographing your way through life, you're reflecting your courage, your heart, and your soul. And I believe that instead of looking for anything particular, instead of looking at life and putting four corners around it, recognize that life is outside of the four corners of the frame. Life is outside of the photographs you make. For the world is so open and there's so much to do, to see, to explore, and to photograph. But I think you have to tap into this flow state of recognizing all of the infinite potential in the world, recognizing all of the infinite beauty in the world, but then through photographing the beauty, through photographing through this sort of childlike, curious, sort of joyous spirit, and forgetting everything you think you know, even in the realm of a photographer's perception, right? In terms of, you know, what makes or breaks a good or bad photograph, but simply making photographs for the sake of making photographs of things that pique your curiosity. Yeah, I think then you can really tap into what it means to experience life as a human being. And I think that through photographing and making pictures each and every day, no matter how mundane things may seem, you can dig deeper and deeper by pressing the shutter, by asking why and remaining in this wondrous state. And I think this is the beauty of photography. And I think that it is so empowering. And so think about the fact that you are a photographer. You have the ability to go out there and to create upon this beautiful canvas that is our world. And so champion that, recognize that as a superpower, and wield your camera like a sword to strike through the heart of chaos, reflecting the soul of the street, creating visual order and harmony through the spontaneity of everyday life. And this to me is the power of photography, recognizing that you are, simply put, a photographer. And how beautiful is that? For now, every waking moment, you see infinite potential around you. You see all of life's beauty and you put order to it. But that recognition of pressing the shutter where you say yes to life, it's an overwhelming feeling actually, where that emotional feeling you feel when you press the shutter, it's something sublime, it's beyond beauty. And so champion that in your photography and try to evoke your spirit. Try to evoke how you perceive the world and how you feel about life in front of you. Don't look for a story. Your life is the story. And each photograph you make is just another paragraph, another sentence, another word within that book, within that diary of your life. And I encourage you to think more about how you can use photography as a vehicle for you to drive your body and your soul out there onto the front lines of life. This to me is where the photographer thrives, in the unknown, sort of just going onwards. You know, where there's a path here, I can go left, you know, and I could decide that I want to go that way. You know, I could make a right and go towards the grass over there where the trees are. But what if I were to say just moving onwards and just continuously marching into the abyss, into the void, is where we should be, sort of going through the chaos openly. And then when you come out on the other side unscathed with all of these photographs that you've made, you champion the day, you champion each and every fleeting moment and exist outside this passage of time where, yes, we have a past, we have a future, but these things aren't of our control, these things aren't of our concern. For when we photograph, we exist outside this passage. We simply move forward with courage, with curiosity, affirming life and exerting our will to power through the click of the shutter each and every day from dawn to dusk, because there's so much out here in the world, and photography provides you that ability to go out there and that excuse to go out there. And so recognize that superpower, recognize that you are a photographer. This is a very empowering thought for me. And hopefully some of these thoughts inspire you to go out there and to explore endlessly, because life is full of wonder and life isn't necessarily what it seems. And so through photographing your way through life, I think that we can chip away at what all of this really means. Through diving within your subconscious mind and through photographing in that flow state, letting go and detaching yourself from the outcome and simply photographing for the sake of photographing. Because you are, after all, a photographer. And with that being said, thank you for watching today's morning musing. Gonna get my day started now, go for my morning walk, and photograph as always. Ricoh GR 3X, small JPEG files, high contrast black and white, crank to the max. Visit Sisofo.com, go to my Start Here page and look for my camera settings. I suggest you give it a try. It will liberate the way that you photograph, and I believe it'll provide more joy in your life. So, peace.